get started, I just want to say that you're going to hear the word community a lot in our message today, and that's on purpose, because what we will be sharing with you is how we use the concept of community to bring solar power to the people we serve. But before we start the program, there are a few people that are here today that we want to recognize. First, we'd like to recognize several of our board members, Lawrence Electric Cooperative board members who are here today. Thank you. A lot of people are happy about solar in our community. Recognize a few of our board members. First, Charles O'Dare, our board chairman, F.E. Hendricks, Leroy Blakely, Mitchell Powers, Bill Hendricks, Eddie Abrams, and Marty Cook. Also want to recognize State House Representative Gary Smith for being here with us this morning. We want to recognize Jerry Fleming from Central Electric Power. Jerry was very instrumental in part of the planning of our community solar project. And then we also have several participants who are participating in our community solar program, members, and we appreciate you all coming out here this morning too in support. And then also there are a few Lawrence Electric employees who we want to recognize. And that is David Hammond and Laurie Reiser, both for program implementation. Nate Brown for the solar farm interconnection into the grid. Don Roy for metering. Debbie Green for implementing billing. And then Bobby Smith also for billing integration. So there was a lot of moving pieces to this, and it took a lot of work from our employees. So we'd just like to recognize them. And then finally, we want to recognize Radiant Solar. Radiant Solar was the contracting firm that actually built the community solar farm that we have behind me. And so with that, I will now turn things over to David Wasson, our President and CEO.
Thank you, Jim. It is a privilege for us to introduce community power, the first community power in the state of South Carolina. We're not introducing solar power, but community power. And this is something that the cooperative has been committed. The board 5 years ago gave us the authority to start looking, and that's how long we've been working on this. It is producing today. It's producing at a level even that more than what we anticipated. But renewable power is an important part at Lawrence Electric Cooperative, and solar power is probably the primary part of that. But when we talk to our members, one of the three things was brought to our attention. There was a dislike for the initial investment, for being on top of the house. Now that's not the case in everybody, and the uncertainty of that. What we're presenting today is an alternative to that. And the most important thing is it is around the cooperative concept. Working together so that some people receive the benefit. I would also like to say that in light of that, it is not subsidized in any way by the other 60,000 members of Lawrence Electric Cooperative, but the total benefit that these panels will produce will be to the benefit, and the most important, the 29 members of Lawrence Electric Cooperative who had enough faith in us to help us sell this out in a period of 6 weeks. We hope that there will be more in the future. We've been producing power for 1 month. We want to see it produce a little bit more before we jump out too much further. But we're confident that it will work. We're confident it's the right thing for our members. And the last thing I'd like to say is, Jim Donahue, thank you for pushing this through. We appreciate you, and we're glad we're the first. Thank you, Jim. We're fortunate to have a couple of our representatives and state senators with us beside Gary, and Senator Ross Turner is with us. And Ross, would you simply make a few comments, or as many comments as you want?
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Thank you for letting me be here today. It's kind of an interesting journey. I remember in 1978, I was sitting in a 9th grade science class at J.L. Mann, and Miss Regan had a speaker come in, and they were talking about they had gone out and they were going to create solar and try to figure out how to store solar energy. Well, that company lasted about 2 years and went bankrupt. And that was probably, 40 years ago now almost. And now, coming into this, 2 years ago, I was sitting in a subcommittee hearing as we started hearing all the solar power that was coming and what was heading this way. And it's nice today to see that it's actually the co-ops that are going to lead the way in showing us how probably the best ways to handle this are. And there's no doubt under the leadership of Mr. Watson and the crowd and the directors y'all have, that's why we're here today. And we appreciate everything you're doing. I look forward to seeing where this is going to take us. There's no doubt we have to learn how to diversify our energy resources and everything in this country if we're going to continue to grow and be what we want to be. And I think these are some of the first steps, especially in the Southeast, where we have abundant sun and a lot of heat so that we can store it.
Thank you, Senator. And we're also fortunate to have the House Majority Leader with us today, Bruce Bannister. Thank you, Bruce.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Like Ross, I'm in awe of the things that you guys are doing at the co-ops level with solar. Addressing the problems is one of the reasons why South Carolina is going to lead the way in paving the path for solar to be used by more citizens than anybody else. In Columbia, we have all these ideas that we're going to push down what you have to do. David, that's never a good idea. The way things work and the way things get done efficiently and consumer friendly is when people at the local level, communities get together and solve their own problems. You don't like the panels on your house, so the co-ops figure out a way to give you solar without the upfront costs, without all the additional problems that come when you try to do it at your house. So I commend you for being the first ones to do this. It is great that it's in House District 24 and Senate 8. I can't help myself. Mark Wells slipped in the back. Mark, thanks for being here. He's a House member as well. And I see maybe a city councilman. Is that? Yeah, the Malden guys just rolled in. This is an extraordinary change in the way to provide solar. It is great that y'all are leading the way and do that, and I'm proud to be part of it. Congratulations.
So what is community solar? Solar communities are groups of solar panels kept at one location. They offer the customer, in our case, the member, a solar power option. This means that members get a credit on their bill for solar energy generated without installing solar panels on their property. And so Lawrence Electric Cooperative is happy to announce the first community solar project in South Carolina to go into production. It will produce 108 kilowatts of solar energy a month, which is roughly equivalent to the energy used by 13 average homes in Lawrence Electric service area. The 108 kilowatts represents 108 units of community solar that was offered to our members as a subscription. Lawrence Electric pre-sold the subscriptions to its members starting on this past April 1st. It took only 6 weeks to fully subscribe the entire community solar farm, so it is clear that this is a program that our members want, and we are happy to give it to them. In addition, we're starting plans to build another phase of community solar in 2017. As an electric cooperative, our goal is not to enrich shareholders, but to enrich the communities we serve. And community solar is another way that helps us accomplish this goal. But equally important is this program is also consistent with our long-term approach to business as an electric distribution utility. That is, seeing ourselves in the business of managing energy, not selling energy. And so, as energy managers, not sellers, what that mindset, what that focus means is that our goal is to use our electric system to maximize the efficiency of our current energy resources and to provide greater access to distributed renewables like solar first before acquiring new generation to serve load. And our community solar program most certainly supports our energy manager's strategic approach to business. And finally, and just as important, are the environmental benefits. This community solar farm will have the same positive impact to our environment as avoiding driving for 225,000 miles a year, or 5.6 million miles over the life of the program. It's equivalent to planting 2,501 trees a year, or 62,500 trees over the life of the program, or offsetting 216,000 pounds of carbon dioxide a year, or 5.4 million pounds of carbon dioxide over the life of the program. We at Lawrence Electric understand that our success is directly related to the well-being of the communities we serve. And on all accounts, our community solar program makes the communities we serve better. And so with that, just want to close by again saying thank you for coming. And we also have a light lunch and some refreshments. And at the end, too, be very happy to do any interviews or answer any questions. Thank you for coming.